a few of these names are Dr. John Mack, Dr. Angela Thompson, Dr. Scott Mandliker, Dr. Nick Begich, Dr. L. Joe Hasselhoff, Dr. Stephen Greer, Dr. Ted Loader, Dr. James McKinney, Dr. Roger Lear, Dr. Claude Swanson. I'm sure that I forgot some people. I apologize for that. But these are just a few of the names, guys. Think about it. Hard scientists, doctors that have come forward to speak and to tell us more truth about the subjects for which we're all looking for answers. Now we welcome Dr. Norman Bergrun. Now, you only have just like a thumbnail sketch of his scientific and academic achievement in your program. Guys, it's as long as both arms and both legs. It is. And yet, think about this. Dr. Norman Bergrun, we're welcoming him here today, but it's been almost 20 years ago that he published his book, The Rings of Saturn. 20 years ago, this great credentialed man of science actually risked everything to come forward to tell us some truth. 20 years ago almost. He was a pioneer, a great man. Ladies and gentlemen, please give your warmest possible welcome to Dr. Norman Bergrun.
Thanks, Bob, for that wonderful introduction. And I have a little memento here that depicts how far we've come in 100 years. And you'll see how far some other people have already come in my presentation. So this is sort of a memento of aerospace.
Uh-oh. Norman, thank you. Thank you so much. I will treasure this memento. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you ready for all of this now? Okay. I'm going to sort of brief you on what you might expect during the presentation so you have a feel of where this thing is going and so that you're not taken back completely by surprise during the presentation. Now the title of ET Intelligence, and I added a tagline that says the open secret. Well, I'm going to show you some vehicles. Now, vehicles is a generic term, and it can be applied to biotic kinds of things, or it can indeed apply to a craft. For example, you're a vehicle for something, and so that's what I mean by that term being very generic. Now I'm going to show you first a couple of vehicles that owe to my own personal sighting, and then some other instances will be cited using NASA images. And then I'm going to point out technological characteristics that of these vehicles that will be developed. They're advanced. Now this advanced technology is what gives the inference of intelligence in the high IQ range. Now, there are some events that occurred on the moon and around the moon, and these will be shown for Apollos 12, 13, and 14. And the open secret pertains to NASA images and data being open to the public. For example, Voyager and Hubble and other missions, they're available to the public on the web, but not enough images to disclose much of anything. You can't work with those images. And thereby, we've got a secret that is open. It's a secret staring you in the face, but there's no closure to it. Well, like some others that appeared before me, we're trying to get closure on that. Now, I'm supposed to have a slide thing here. Now that's my first slide that sets up a calibrate. Okay, now there's the title slide, and I've explained about the title, so we can move on. I don't know what happened to that one. There should be another one before that. Okay, well, I'll tell you a story about this airplane. It's an Orion P-3 airplane, and its gross weight is 127,500 pounds. It can carry 60,000 gallons of fuel, and it can carry well of a load of armament, like 10 torpedoes, depth charges of all types, and being a submarine hunter airplane, why, they've got all kinds of other equipment on board. They have redundant equipment for safety. It's an airplane that has lived through a long period of time, and even today, its upgrade model is still flying, and so that gives you an idea of an airplane that has lived a long life. Now, this airplane vanished off the California coast near Point Sur with 8 crew members aboard, and the date was May 27th, 1972. The last radio contact was over what was then known as the Salinas radio beacon, and this beacon is located on the coast and practically directly west of the town of Salinas. Now, if anyone would like to see the full content of the news clip, why see me afterwards when we're at the book table. Now, I've told you about some of the characteristics. It has 4,300 horsepower engines. And so when you add the torpedoes, the 13 depth bombs, the different sizes, 6 mines, 3 1,000 pounders and 3 2,000 pounders, you got a lot of equipment that was lost off of Point Sur. The commanding officer of the day for the squadron was actually, according to the press article, just befuddled because he could not imagine how an airplane like that could vanish, literally vanish. There was no oil trace in the search. They really scoured things, and they came up with nothing. So this airplane just really disappeared, along with the people aboard. I will tell you a little bit more about that in conjunction with some things that happened on Monterey Bay. Now, the Point Sur is located slightly south of the Monterey area, and is about halfway. Now, that's a very dim slide, so you have to tune that up. There we go. You see Monterey Bay there, and get out a pointer. Okay, Pajara Dunes is about halfway down here, and Santa Cruz is up in here, and Monterey, of course, is down there in this corner right there. Monterey is down at the bottom corner, and Pajara Dunes, which is labeled, you can see quite clearly. Okay, so in September of 1971, I was at Pajara Dunes. We had spent a week vacation there, and this was the last day, full day that we were going to be there. And I was laying flat on my back at Pajara Dunes looking up this way. And when I did that, why, I saw a bright, very bright light, intense light. And I thought at first it was a huge Navy helicopter crossing the bay. I'd seen those before, and I thought surely that was it. And the sun had been over my back, and so it was shining towards what would have been the windscreen of the airplane. But after a while, it became evident that no windscreen could produce the reflections that I was beginning to see. And so at this juncture, I ran and got a binocular and took a sighting on it. And what I found was, we have here a model. Can you see that? The thing that I saw was a silvery vehicle that was long. Its diameter was maybe about 1/13 of its length. It had azure blue flames at each end, and it kept going through capabilities that it had. What happened next was that two flames, rod-like flames, shot out, indicated by these two elements. And then between those two elements was a black rod kind of thing. And when it reached the end of where the flame-like pair were, a huge, intense light was formed, like an arc light. Now, you probably are wondering what these are. First, let me tell you that underneath the nose there was flame-like characteristics too. I call that part a mustache for the vehicle. Now, the streamers, there were pairs of streamers, one from each side would come up and coalesce together. And there were a number of these, and I've shown 3 here with the model. The streamers were pinched plasma. That is, there's a ball of plasma that would come out. Plasma, there is 4 states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas, and plasma, and that means that it's gas at high temperature. So it would belch out a globule of plasma, and it would pinch down, and then another globule would move up. And so these globules would just move along here with a successive one being coming out from the